Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome to Rising Above Shadows of Abuse, Razar. I'm your host, Grace Ovba. Today, I have the adorable and charming Ginger Crystal Faith. How does a woman start afresh after an abusive relationship and retire affluently, especially if she has children that she needs to cater for?
Well, I don't have children, so I can speak limited. Right. So I have my limitation because I don't have children. And that was an easier path for me because of that. Right. However, start with your identity. I believe that learning, squirreling out some time for yourself would be critical. So even though I don't have children, I have a lot of demands on me, but every day I squirrel away 10, 15 minutes for prayer, meditation, affirmation, reading. Read the best books that will help you. Now, if you've overcome an abusive situation and you've extricated yourself, you need to be congratulated. Okay, so give yourself a pat on the back every single day because that's not easy at all on any level. Okay, I've extricated myself from toxic situations very much, and it's not easy because there's a draw, a familiarity, and a downwards pull until you get into orbit. But it takes a while. So if you've overcome the abusive relationship, at least you've extricated yourself, you need to give yourself some space, but also start bringing in positive vibration, positive energy. There's a beautiful quote in the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and it basically says everything that's there out in the ether, good, bad, evil, beautiful, it's all there. Where are we going to focus our energy? The biggest challenge, of course, is the downward pull, right? So it's a challenge. I grew up in a toxic environment and I didn't know anything better, but it was extremely painful all the time. But I didn't know any better. But in the universe of possibilities, there's beauty and there's healing. There's good people who are kind and they're not toxic. So find them. I'm a big proponent of positive affirmations. That has changed my life. Positive affirmations. And lately I've taken it a level and I'm declaring them verbally. You know, the world was created with words.
Yeah.
Speaking out verbally. So in the morning when I pray, I don't pray in silence anymore. I pray out loud to the possibility and to the things that I want to create and be a co-creator. So everything that is wrong in your life, you write it down and you write what you want. You write what you want. And then you commit to what you want. You take that 15 minutes in the morning and you know and affirm and pray. God, all the universal power is within you. You're just fighting the toxic, abusive mental structures that you've been thrown into or happened into or whatever. It is really a battleground of the mind. It truly is. But it's very winnable for nearly anyone. It's winnable, but you have to commit to it. And so whatever was wrong in my life, and there was a big list, I would write it down. What do I want? What's here? What do I want? What's here? What I want? When it comes to shame, guilt, pain, this is what I deserve. This is all I deserve. All that stuff. Yeah, that is. You need to rework your identity to know the truth. Keep away the lies, know the truth of who you are, and affirm your future. Affirm healing for your children. Affirm a better future for your children. If you look out in the world, you will see people who came from crazy situations. I personally have several refugee friends who are very successful. They came from nothing but love in their family, right? And even if you didn't have love in your family, you can find it in the universe of possibilities. I did not know what love was until I was about 30 years old. I had no idea. I thought it was a weird word. Today I laugh, right? But it's a lot of years later. But my mother said she loved me, and then, she was a schizophrenic alcoholic. She didn't know what that meant. She couldn't possibly know what it meant to love me. Right. So they think that love is abuse, it's attachment, and all these sort of crazy things. So depending on the level, abuse, it's, the challenge, there's, variations of how deep you need to go, what kind of therapy you need. I had a ton of therapy, a ton of coaching, a ton of journaling. I'm a reader. I think it's important now. We're so blessed with podcasts. We're blessed with YouTube. It's so easy now. When I started healing from my challenges, it was in the 90s. I started figuring it out in the 90s. that something was really, really wrong, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And it was hard to find information. I'd go to the library for books, and but you didn't have Amazon for books, you didn't have YouTube. Now there's so many. My God, we're like so unbelievably blessed that you could Google whatever your problem is, and you could chat GPT your problem and it'll tell you a solution. No, it's great. Yeah, it's phenomenal, and there are support groups for everything now. There wasn't then. So I truly believe our world is coming into a spiritual liberation like we've never seen before. I see it all over. Young kids know much more than I did at their age. Because it's available. And I think that's fantastic. I'm not sure if I answered your question. I kind of went on a...
You did. Thank you. Like you said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set us free. That's what the Bible says. I know, like you actually explained earlier on, that it's quite important for women to know who they are or rediscover your identity. That's very crucial. Then self-love, because you talked about love. What is the meaning of love? Find that out and then start building from there. And from it, authenticity. You have to be authentic to yourself. So that's quite vital. And from there, you can start building back what you maybe the lost due to the unhealthy relationships they were involved in. Because most of the time, this is what happens when women are in unhealthy relationships. They tend to lose a lot because they are not as focused as they should be. Like you said, different energies pulling them here and there. Be safe and be positive. And don't forget to check out our social media handles. Thank you. Bye for now.